Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. So today I will be doing a voiceover on how I designed my reading journal, or my reading tracker if you will. So I just used some watercolor paper that I've had on hand, and then I will be using this beautiful journal that was gifted to me recently by my best friend Cowboy. It's really beautiful. As you can see, it has beautiful lined paper, but I just decided to go ahead and convert this into my reading journal. So recently I drew just a cute little bookshelf with this Micron 05 pen. I love using this pen for illustration drawings. It came out really cute. And then I decided to go with these watercolor markers that I bought from Five Below a couple years ago now. And so I decided to take those out and use them. And just to have on standby, I took out my multicolor Bic pens. I had those on standby just in case I wanted to use them. And then I just have some other supplies like some scissors and double-sided tape and a glue stick. So we'll go ahead and get started here. So during this part, I'm just going to cut the page down to size so it can fit into the journal. I don't know why, it's just the inspiration came to me to do a reading tracker. I usually don't do reading trackers, or I don't track my reading too much unless I had a Mambi, which if you don't know, it's kind of like a happy planner if you will, and it stands for me and my big ideas. And for some reason I just haven't bought one this year. I don't know what it is, but I just feel like this time I just wanted to do something simple, something fun. So I decided to kind of convert the journal into like a reading planner or a reading journal if you will. So I just drew a quick little bookshelf and I just put some books on it and my little banner there with my where it says books read in 2024. So I just have that there as the cover, and I think it came out pretty cute. So yeah, I decided just to use this to kind of track the books that I'm reading. So all I did was essentially fill in the spines of the books with the titles of the books that I've read recently, and as I go along and continue on with reading, I'm going to color in the books so that way all the shelves will be colorful. Hopefully all the shelves will be filled by the time I get to the end of this reading tracker. That would be really nice. So again, I'm just cutting it down to size, nothing complicated here. So here, once again, I am just cutting it down to size so that way it can fit into the journal. I usually like to skip a couple pages over in case I want to do something different to the beginning of the journal. So I just moved over a few pages and I'm just measuring it, and it was a pretty good size. So then I'm just going to add the double-sided tape to the back of my drawing so it can stick nicely into the journal. And there you have it. That is how it came out in the journal. I really did enjoy how it came out. I think it came out really good, and I just love the pastel look to it. So here I just grabbed like a notepad because I wanted to test out some colors that I wanted to choose to color in the books. So of course I have to start with pink just because, and I believe it's number 17, pink. So I just fill in the book or the spine of the book, I should say. And I really wanted to stick to the light pastel colors. I just wanted something to brighten up the page but also keep it subtle, kind of like that shabby chic look. I don't know why that kind of palette was calling my name. I don't know why. I just felt the need to do pastel colors. or colors in general. I'm really surprised at that because I don't know if I've mentioned, I forget what I've said in the previous clip, so I apologize if I'm repeating myself. But when I used to draw, I usually draw in black and white, and I only use graphite or charcoal. And colors just not, or wasn't my thing at the time. But for some reason, when I was drawing my bookshelf out, I just kept picturing them in the colors of pastel colors, you know, like light pinks, light blues, light greens, and so on and so forth. So I just decided to stick with that, and I'm happy I did. So I'm happy that I kind of stepped out of my comfort zone, and I wasn't trying to overthink this concept because I know reading trackers and reading journals, they're very, very beautiful. I've seen so many throughout the years watching BookTube and just looking them up on Etsy shops and all that kind of good stuff. And I just never felt brave enough to create my own. I just never thought it'd be good enough or look as aesthetically pleasing. And for some reason, I was just like, you know what? It's time. I'm going to create one myself, good or bad. I'm going to be the only one looking at it. And that way you guys can kind of learn if I make any mistakes, or if you see any mistakes, you know not to do it. If you're ever creating your own, or if there's a certain color you don't like how it looks, you know not to use those certain colors. So anyway, that's how it looks so far. I've only read a couple of books, so that's why I'm not going to have a lot of titles on there yet. But we will soon, or at least I will soon. So here I'm just cutting out another page. I wasn't going to do a cover page for my reading journal, but I don't know why. The inspiration just kept coming for me to draw anything really that came to mind. And I really was not trying to overthink it. So I was just like, I'm just going to sketch. I'm just going to sketch out a cover title or a cover page, if you will, and just have fun with it. So here I'm just cutting it to size, and I'm just marking it to size, so that way it's more or less the same length of the journal, just like I did with the first picture. And as I said, it didn't bother me if it was sticking out too much. It really doesn't bother me as long as it's not obviously bothering the journal too much to where if I stood it up it would be tipping over or bending the paper. I wasn't trying to do that either. So I'm just getting a general sizing here of the outline. So here I'm just making sure that the page was cut to size, and it actually turned out pretty good. Once again, it didn't bother me that if it was sticking out a little bit from the top, just as long as the paper wasn't sticking out too much at the bottom. I was really going for that junk journal kind of vibe, so I went ahead and did it that way, and I was happy with it. Here I'm just deciding to skip it a few pages over, just because I was worried that once I put the page with the colors, I didn't want the colors to start bleeding into each other, so I decided to place it a little more away from the first drawing. And here's a quick look of the illustration that I did. It's a little cover that I came up with and designed myself. It says reading journal as the title, and then I just drew bookshelves in the background, and then a little nook or reading nook, if you will, in that little circular part there. I actually used the candle lid that you see there on my desk. I actually used that to draw the circle, and then I just drew like a little bedroom or a little reading nook. I don't know where the inspiration came from, but I just decided to do that, and I really liked it. And I just did that with my regular lead pencil. So then here I'm just going over the lead pencil drawing with my Micron 5 pen. So like I've mentioned, I'm just going over my pencil drawing with my Micron 5 pen, and that's how it's turning out. I think it came out pretty good. I wasn't originally going to make a cover for my reading journal, as I've mentioned, but I'm really happy that I decided to do it. I just really felt like the need to draw, I guess. I just really felt I was really passionate about it. It was just something I wanted to do for a long time. I just always had this insecurity that it wasn't going to look right or I wouldn't know where to start. But once the idea came to me and I had the time to do it, I was like, you know what? It's time I just do it. If it doesn't come out perfect, that's totally fine. There's nothing wrong with starting all over. And I'm really happy I just decided to step out of my comfort zone. As I've mentioned, there's something really freeing about stepping out of your comfort zone and trying something new, something fun, something different. And I'm really happy that I designed something myself and I was proud of it. It's been a while since I had that feeling creatively. And overall, I'm just happy with the process. It was very therapeutic, I guess you could call it, very freeing. And I'm involved. Like, I'm just really happy with reading right now. I'm just really excited about it. So I just wanted that to really reflect in my drawings. And I don't know, I just wanted to do something that involved like bookish themed or bookish ideas, if you will, and junk journaling kind of all in one. And this was the result of it. I should also quickly mention, if you don't see the jewelry showing in this clip, it's because sadly the jewelry was interfering with my drawing a little bit, and I was really nervous when I started using the pen that I would mess up. So I just went ahead and took it off, which is not a big deal. I love it, don't get me wrong, but when I found that it was kind of making my lines a little jagged, I was like, oh, I think I have to take these off. So if you don't see the jewelry, it's because I took it off. But it's still the same day recording. So here I'm just going over the plants that I drew. The books were all complete, so I went over to the little drawings that I did of the plants, and I just started from there and made my way to the rest of the drawing. And here I just grabbed like a scrap piece of paper that I had on hand, and it's just to basically protect my hand from rubbing against the ink that was already put on to the page. And I'm just going over my drawing, as I've said, with the Micron 5 pen, and it's looking pretty good. I'm really happy with the way it was turning out. I really like how the pen really brought out the image, and that's how it's looking. I think it came out pretty cute in my opinion. So basically here is how the drawing is progressing. I really like the way it was turning out. I really love how the ink was really showing through in the drawing. It really brought out the image. And again, I just did a rough sketch, nothing too fancy. I just used what I had, which was basically just a cheap set of watercolor markers with my lead pencil. I used my lid from my candle to draw the circle, so I just used what I had on hand. I didn't really go too extreme with it. I didn't try to use anything fancy. I do have a lot of nice what do you call it, why can't I think of the term right now? I'm sorry, graphite. I have a lot of graphite pencils and charcoal pencils, but those I use for specific drawings. But for this one, I just grabbed a simple lead pencil and just let my mind do its thing, let my hands move the way they wanted to, and this is what came out of it, and I'm really happy with it. So I highly recommend, if you ever feel like sketching or drawing, just do it. Don't overthink it. Don't worry about, well, it's not going to be good enough, or is it good enough? What will people think? If I show it to anybody, I'll be embarrassed. Don't worry about it. For me, when I went into this project, I just let it do its thing. I wasn't trying to overthink it. I wasn't like, oh, I've lost touch with drawing. It's not good. This is terrible. I just drew whatever came to mind. And that's how it looks. So here is kind of a review of how I drew the circle in my drawing. Once again, I just used the lid that came with the candle there that you see on my desk, and I just used that to draw the circle. So at this point, I'm just using my Micron pen to go over the same exact line so it can obviously match the rest of the image. I highly recommend using whatever tool you have on hand. If you want to get a certain shape, just look around. You might be surprised what you can use. And there's the final result. So here I'm just erasing the pencil markings with my pen eraser, just so that the pencil markings don't show through, or at least show as much in my drawing once it's all done. And then I will continue with that until I start adding color to the books and the rest of the drawing. So here comes the fun part, which is the coloring. I took number 25 Salmon Pink pen for the watercolors, and I just chose the lightest peachy pink that I could find, and it so happened to be that number and that name. But anyway, I was really happy with it. I really liked the shade because I wanted to keep the shabby chic or light pinkish appearance, and I think it came out pretty good. So I really enjoyed filling in the colors. It really brought the picture to life. And I was very surprised because I usually don't go to color. I don't gravitate towards color when it comes to my drawings, but in this instance, I really wanted to show a lot of character, a lot of fun, a lot of cool vibes, and I think it's had a lot to do with it too. It was really, really hot that day, so I wanted to keep the colors really cool and fresh, and I think I nailed it in this drawing. So I just continue on coloring in the shelves this particular color. Once again, it was number 25 Salmon Pink, and it looks really cute. I really liked it. So fast forwarding a little bit, it was a little bit later in the evening, so which is why my shirt looks different. It got a little cool, so I put an oversized t-shirt on. But anyway, moving on. So now I'm going to color in the books. I chose this color, this cute watercolor marker, which is 17 Pink. And I really liked this color. It was really a nice, it wasn't like a bright color, but it was bright enough for me to see it. It wasn't like too watery looking or anything like that. So anyway, I chose that as my first choice to color in my first book. Once again, really happy with it. I decided not to put any titles on the front page because I just wanted the books to be in color. I didn't want to put any titles in particular. I just wanted for them to all be colorful and cute. So yeah, so this is the first book I start coloring in with the pink watercolor, and I really liked it. I was afraid that the pink would look too watery or too watered down, but it's still noticeable, so I really like that. And then here's where I moved on to baby blue. I apologize for not showing the numbers. I just got caught up in coloring. So yeah, that's what happened. But anyway, so here I just start continuing on with the coloring in of the books. It took quite a little bit, but overall I am happy with the process. I'm happy how it came out overall. And so I just continue on coloring the books, and it really brought the picture to life. I really was happy with it. I was so nervous about coloring in the books. So I just continued on, and as I kept coloring, I was really happy with it. Here's where I tried using my gel Bic pens. I really didn't care for the overall look. I tried it with the purple the first time around, and I really didn't like it. It was just way too dark, way too heavy, and it just wasn't fitting the shabby chic vibe that I was going for. So then I just went ahead and grabbed more watercolors that I had on hand. So here's where I grabbed the 16 Coral Pink. I really like that shade. It has like a really nice, almost between red and orange kind of color. So I really like that one. And then I'm so sorry, I can't make out this, the name on this one, but anyway, it's number 14. So I went ahead and colored in the next book with that color, and I think it looked pretty good. So here I tried using my gel big pins again, so I went with the color pink to see if that would do any difference, and unfortunately I still didn't like it. It was still way too heavy, way too dark, way too glittery. So either way, I'm happy that I tried it. Even though 2 of the books are colored in with the gel pins, that's totally fine by me. At least I tried. And there's nothing wrong with trying. If you tried something for the first time and it didn't turn out the way you wanted to, that's totally fine. Just try not to get frustrated, try not to get overwhelmed, just start all over. It is worth the process, it is worth the reveal, it is worth the end result. So anyway, I just continue on coloring the books with my watercolor markers, and I will show the final review towards the end of my clip here, because I'm pretty sure if you just continue watching me fill in the spines of the books, it's going to get pretty boring for you guys, and that is the last thing I want to do, is bore you guys. So I will show the final review towards the end of the clip.